When the young girl comes out of her coma, she says something shocking about her father that makes everyone stop and stare. Jamina, a 6-year-old girl who had been in a coma for a few months after a terrible accident she had with her mother while they were traveling, has finally woken up, and her first words have shocked everyone in the room. So, it was hard for people to believe that her mother could have done something like that. Since only the mother and poor Jamina knew what really happened, they only knew what the woman said about what happened, which was that her car suddenly broke down, making her lose control and flip off the road. Even though there were a lot of questions about her story, it was the girl's unexpected confession that put everything in perspective and revealed an unthinkable truth that had been hidden up until that point. Galileo and her husband, Andrew, were thrilled to find out they were going to have their first child just a few months after moving into their beautiful new home. Even though Galileo's pregnancy went normally for the first few months, her blood pressure started to go up in the last few months, which caused her doctors to step in. Because of this, she, her child, and her partner were all in serious danger of dying. Even though she was awake when she went to the hospital the day before she gave birth, it took a miracle for the doctors to be able to save her life. Galileo started to get better after a week of struggling between life and death, though she was just starting to come back to herself at the time. When she got there, the first thing she did was ask for her daughter to be brought to him. This was the first thing she did. She sounded very emotional while she held the tiny baby, and she felt a huge sense of relief when she found out that the baby was healthy, had been delivered safely, and had not had any problems during delivery. Even with everything that had happened and the fact that she was always tired, she couldn't be happier with her new job than when she got home from her last assignment. When her daughter came home from college, she did everything she could to make the most of every moment she had with her. Her husband, on the other hand, was not happy or proud of her for having such a beautiful baby. Instead, he was cold and stubborn, acting as if her presence bothered him, and all he did was complain that she wasn't paying him enough attention now that the baby was in the house. Gail couldn't figure out why he was acting so strangely toward her, especially since he had always been so nice to her in the past. She told herself to cheer up by saying that jealousy was to blame. As time went on, her husband seemed to be more open to the girl and show a little more affection toward her. By that time, she was 2 years old and was officially Galileo's kitchen helper. Galileo had asked Andre for help starting a pastry business and making a small addition to your home. Because Andre got a great promotion at work, they were both doing well. But even though they were lucky, her husband was always looking for reasons to go to work, even on his days off. He even went on vacation to keep him away from home, which made her very sad. 4 years later, Galileo found her husband's old phone in the attic. When she looked at the horrible conversations he had recorded on it, she realized what had happened and was filled with rage and fury. Due to these different emotions, the woman she drove to Jamina's school to think about what she should do now that she knew the whole truth was nervous. In a series of text messages with her boss, the daughter of well-known billionaire Andrew admitted that she was pregnant at the time and that he was the father of her child. "It would be best if you could find a way out of this. You hate Rotworld just as much as I do. Because of this, I can't think of a better solution." Her answer was short and to the point. However, even though the woman agreed, she told him later that she didn't have the confidence to do so and would rather give the baby up for adoption as soon as she was born. With the phone call came even scarier documents that showed that Andre's partner had died during childbirth and that he had agreed to take care of the baby for the worst of reasons, such as to get money from the woman's parents. She couldn't keep living her life after she died and went to the next world because she had already died. The Galilean baby's stillbirth made it easier for him to convince doctors to help him with his plan to replace the Galilean baby with his girlfriend. He did this by telling them about another lie he made up that was wrong. Because of this, his wife will no longer miss her real daughter because the girl will also have a mother. Since Galileo had been raising the child of her husband's lies for all these years, he had just used the money to live a luxurious life at the expense of the little girl's grandparents. During that time, when Galileo came back with innocent Jamina, who was singing and smiling as sweetly as she had before, she knew what she had to do. At that time, the car was making a lot of noise. Within seconds, they were both stuck inside the car, which was now on its side on the side of the road. "Mother, where have you gone?" It was Jamina's words that led to a response of retaliation. All of them just looked at each other in shock, and then they tried to figure out how to tell her that she had been arrested and was being investigated by the police because there were signs that she had caused the accident on purpose to try to kill the woman. They were all thin and self-conscious about how they looked. Even though mom was scared, she didn't do anything wrong. She tried to stay calm and put her shirt over mine to hide my wounds while she worked to keep me warm because it was very cold outside. She begged me not to sleep, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop myself from falling asleep. Please give me a chance to talk to her. She didn't hurt anyone, so she should be let off the hook. She said. I'm very horrified to show how she felt about the situation. After hearing the girl's confession, the detectives changed how they were going to handle the case. They soon found that her husband's claims that she hated Jemina and wanted to get rid of her were not true. Even after Winter's damage, the investigation is still going on. Something went wrong with the car's system, which she didn't realize until she got out of it. Because she was so shocked at the time. She found it because Galileo had lost so much blood by the time paramedics got there that they couldn't figure out what she had done to keep her daughter at home with her. So, they couldn't figure out what she did to keep her daughter at home with her, except for when she was released from the hospital. She rushed to her daughter's side, hugged and kissed her, and thanked God that her daughter was getting better. They packed up their things and moved to a new city with their daughter. They used the money they made from the bakery to help them start over. Why she didn't grow up in her mother's womb didn't matter. Andrew loved her with all his heart because she was her daughter. But not before she gave the phone to her grandparents and made sure they knew who Andrew was and that he couldn't keep taking money out of their accounts. With the help of the best kitchen helper, she was able to reopen a business where she promised to make people's lives a little bit sweeter when they ate her delicious food. So far, this has been the story for the day, and we sincerely hope you found it interesting.